A somber scene over in Town Creek this afternoon. The funeral for John Scott Jr. took place at noon, drawing hundreds of people who knew him and loved him dearly. They gathered together at the Jackson Memory Funeral Home. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo tells us how he is being remembered.
John Scott's family and friends just celebrated his life and legacy here at the Jackson Memory Funeral Home in Town Creek. Hundreds of people showed up this afternoon to remember, laugh, and cry over their favorite memories of Scott. Those family and friends share with me the pain they're going through right now.
We've known each other for about a decade now. His ex-wife is my best friend, and he's been in every memory I can think of for the early years of my kids. So we've been friends for a really long time. And I just stand with him and his family and how they're feeling right now and the community, and it's just important to me that they seek the justice that they need and that the truth is told.
That truth they're seeking, the events that allegedly contributed to Scott's death after he was arrested by Decatur police the night of April 15th. Family and friends say after suffering a medical emergency at the Morgan County Jail, he was taken to Huntsville Hospital and was fighting for his life before he passed away a week later on April 22nd. Scott was 39 years old. In attendance were dozens of family, about 100 friends, Decatur Councilman Billy Jackson, and John Scott's family attorney Lee Merritt. In Town Creek, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Thank you, Caleb. The service lasted nearly 2 hours, and John Scott Jr. was laid to rest shortly after the service. But the fight is not over. His family and friends say they keep advocating for him until changes are made in the city of Decatur.
You are seeing emotions boil to a head at a Decatur City Council work session. The man you see right there is William Landers. He's being arrested after a heated discussion turned into raw emotion for several Decatur residents. Jail records confirm Landers was arrested and charged with resisting arrest and disorderly conduct. He has since been bonded out, however. This is where we start tonight. I'm Gabe Glassman. Tensions have reached their peak in an already troubled Decatur. Tonight's work session, the first public gathering by Decatur's top government officials since the death of John Daniel Scott Jr. after an altercation with Decatur police. Scott died on Tuesday following a medical emergency he experienced during an arrest made by DPD. Police say Scott was exhibiting signs of mental distress and refused medical care before officers took him into custody using a taser. Physical strikes and physical restraints after being transported to the county jail. Scott suffered an undisclosed health crisis resulting in his death. Fast forward to tonight, where all secondary public comments were about this tragic event, leaving residents with more questions than answers from the city council.
I counted in just a short time frame of the video him saying "I'm sorry" over 20 times in the first 10 minutes. He also said over 10 times in the first 10 minutes, "Thank you" to every officer that was there. At minute 7, he told them, "I don't want to die." At minute 12, he said, "This might be my last time, Lord Jesus."
The reason why we have a problem is not because of the policies, it's because we're not holding no one accountable. That's why we got a problem. That's why we got a problem. Y'all are protecting the wrong ones.
Let's bring you now to the end of the meeting, which was abruptly ended by City Council President Jacob Leonard, as you'll see here. These are the events immediately following the meeting's adjournment as well.
I'm going to end with a quote that I heard from Lois McMaster Bujold. "The dead cannot cry out for justice. It is a duty of the living to do so for them." And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Jacob, we pay y'all salary, we pay the police salary.
Killing people. We are! For killing people. Just come on. We are! How many My emotions are extremely high because the council seems as if they don't care about what's going on and what's happening in our community. Today was kind of a heated meeting that ended with the Decatur Police Department over policing, as they always do.
I'm tired. I'm frustrated. If the council would listen to us, then we could have prevented another death on Decatur Police hands. It's exhausting.
When things happen at people's jobs, you know, someone gets reprimanded. If someone does something wrong, you have to hold them accountable. And I don't think that Decatur, the police department, or the government officials are holding anyone accountable. So these things continue to happen, and they'll continue to happen until someone stands up as a leader.
This is all happening as Decatur's leaders are still deciding who will lead the city's police force moving forward.
Local organizations standing in power hosting what they call an emergency meeting tonight to discuss the future of Decatur following the deaths of Steve Perkins and most recently John Scott Jr. This comes just after a city council work session turned protest last night that led to one man's arrest. That man, William Landers, he was charged with resisting arrest and for disorderly conduct. FOX54's Caleb Aguayo takes us out to Decatur, where he talked to Landers and other members of the Decatur community about what they're calling the city's crisis.
Standing in Power addressed that crisis tonight during the emergency meeting at the Turner Searles Community Resource Center. There, they talked about the future of Decatur as they see it. From angry protests to needing a new chief, the agenda was packed with grievances they've been bringing to the city of Decatur for almost 2 years.
This is a serious matter. It's really dire. You know, right now people are being killed by the police and no one is being held accountable. The city leadership is not being accountable to us when it comes to these matters, so we have to be accountable to the community as standing in power.
It all comes after recent events involving Decatur police shaking the city to its core. The shooting of Steve Perkins in 2023 and the death of John Scott Jr. last week brought tensions to a new peak at the city council work session just last night. Anissa Lige with Standing in Power says they're addressing the community because people are outraged over everything that's happened.
People are furious because this has happened again, and the city has not been proactive in making sure this never happens again. And so I think that the community is fed up and tired.
At the city council work session, police arrested protester William Landers, who says he's angry he was treated differently from other protesters because of the color of his skin.
It kind of makes me mad, honestly, that they treated me so much differently than a lot of other people that don't look like me in protests that have been arrested for similar charges. And I don't know if it's because they had a large group. I mean, they did slam me into a door and then pin me to the ground, and I wasn't resisting, but like, no punches were necessarily thrown. I didn't get tased, even though my hands were behind my back.
The city of Decatur has a long way to go before the storm is over, but city leaders hope to start by picking a new police chief as soon as possible, planning to move forward with candidate Tory Mack next week. In Decatur, I'm Caleb Aguayo, FOX54 News.
New information coming out of the city of Decatur today regarding residents accused of trespassing and resisting arrest, among other charges, after Monday's city council meeting. This follows outrage from the arrest and death of John Daniel Scott Jr. last month. Alvin Mosley, Derek Taylor, Sierra Taylor, William Landers, Terrence Atkins, and Billy Bruce Kennedy turned themselves in on warrants for their arrest this morning. They were confronted by police after Decatur City Council President Jacob Latner abruptly ended the public comment portion of the city council meeting. Protesters were expressing their continued distaste for the city. John J.R. Scott Jr. died on April 22nd after his arrest by Decatur police during a mental health distress call on April 15th. That encounter was captured on police body cam footage, which was later released by the Decatur Police Department. Today's arrests only added to the community's unrest, further calling into question their ability to serve the city of Decatur. Our Simon Williams spoke with some citizens about how this week's events have impacted them.
4 days after the Decatur City Council meeting ended in Decatur police physically removing residents from the chambers, 6 turned themselves into custody at the Morgan County Sheriff's Office. This is the latest episode in the city of Decatur's dismal reputation with its constituents.
There was no confidence in our public representatives before, and this just makes it even worse because we're actually out here trying to fight for the community, and the people inside of the City Hall tower are trying to silence us. They're trying to silence our First Amendment right, and that's not right.
Alvin Mosley, Derek Taylor, Sierra Taylor, William Landers, Terrence Atkins, and Billy Bruce Kennedy turned themselves in on charges like trespassing, disorderly conduct, and loitering. All 6 posted bond and were released.
The charges make no sense. I had got a trespassing warrant before I got a trespass warning. I don't understand how any of us were trespassed in that moment if the directives that they gave us we were following. I'm just flabbergasted by it all.
We've seen the 3 deaths, but numerous beatings over the past 20 months, not including the 3 deaths that they've done to these men in our city, as well as this morning 6 arrests that none of them should have been arrested. Arrested for things that are bogus, trumped up charges to keep them from stepping on city property for 2 years. It just makes no sense.
Decatur Mayor Tab Bowling released a statement this morning saying in part, quote, actions and behaviors demonstrated by several attendees violated law and order and jeopardized the safety of those in attendance, including small children present. As such, several arrests have been made along with trespass warnings for the building. As mayor, I will ensure all attendees and visitors to City Hall are provided with a safe environment. The pressure continues as standing in power and other Decatur residents are going to be participating in a protest tomorrow. That's May 2nd, starting here at City Hall at 5:30. In Decatur, Simon Williams, Fox 54 News.
A shooting and an assault near the Derrick Street temporary homeless camp have put a spotlight on safety concerns. Huntsville police are investigating an assault with a knife that happened early this morning. It's the second attack in 2 days in the Derrick Street camp area. Police say one man has minor injuries after he was involved in a confrontation with several people. During the altercation, the victim was struck with a knife. Police also say they did not find evidence of a disturbance at the camp itself. Yesterday, a woman was shot. She's in critical condition at Huntsville Hospital. No arrests have been made in either incident. Now, city leaders say the violence underscores why a new, more secure version of the camp is urgently needed. Fox 54's Ken McCoy spoke with community leaders to learn more.
The Derrick Street temporary camp was never meant to be permanent, but recent violence is adding new urgency to the city's efforts to move residents into a safer, more structured site nearby. For outreach workers like Chad Rodriguez with First Stop, the incidents were deeply personal.
Obviously, when we get word that one of our clients has been harmed for any reason, self-harm or through a crime, we always reach out immediately. That's a tragic day for us, and we are going to support our client any way we can and support the city any way we can to help bolster our other clients' needs.
First Stop is one of several organizations that provide support at the camp, offering services and working to connect residents to long-term housing. But safety has always been a concern. And Community Development Manager Scott Irwin sharing with Fox 54 a statement today saying in part, quote, safety and security have consistently been the top concerns from residents. That's why the city is implementing new standards to make sure the new camp is safe, sanitary, and respectful environment. The new site just steps away will include clearer rules, more oversight, and controlled access to keep non-residents from coming in and causing problems.
As the move back to the South Derrick camp occurs over the next month, there's going to be a lot of new regulations put in place. There's a code of conduct that everybody must adhere to, and it will limit the troublemakers who aren't residents of the camp from being present and causing problems.
Rodriguez says the violence doesn't define the people who live there, but it does reinforce how fragile stability can be.
Our clients are good people. They're just going through a hard time. It makes them no less deserving of help, and it makes them no less deserving of respect, dignity, and hope, which is the main things we're here to provide.
The city says the revitalized Derrick Street camp is expected to open in the coming weeks. In Huntsville, Ken McCoy, Fox 54 News.
The city of Huntsville is making plans for the future of one of its most historic landmarks. Officials have announced the purchase of land to expand Maple Hill Cemetery. The city has entered into a purchase and sale agreement with DPP LLC to acquire a little more than 1 acre parcel of land on the east side of Maple Hill Cemetery. The land will be used for the cemetery's future expansion, plans for which are already in development. Our Ken McCoy has more on what this means for this city and for the legacy of those buried there.
Tucked away on McClung Avenue, Maple Hill Cemetery stands as a solemn reminder of Huntsville's past. Now the city is taking steps to ensure it continues to serve the community well into the future. Councilman Bill Kling remembers his early connections to the cemetery.
When I was in college, I had a summer job working at Maple Hill Cemetery. I was part of a crew that would go around with trimmers, and we would trim around all the headstones at least once every 3 weeks. And it was a big cemetery. It was very hot that summer, but that gave me a good perspective of hard work and how beautiful and historic the cemetery itself is.
Huntsville recently finalized the purchase of just over an acre of land on the cemetery's east side, a move aimed at future expansion.
Well, the city is growing. Maple Hill Cemetery is certainly a wonderful place to have your final resting place at. We approve an expansion and purchase of 1.11 acres of land, and that will allow us to bring in several hundreds, if not possibly a few thousand, new resting places.
Maple Hill Cemetery dates back to 1818. It's more than just a burial site. It's a designated historical landmark, recognized by the Alabama Historical Association in 1962. It's also the final resting place of 5 U.S. senators and 5 Alabama governors. While specifics around the expansion are still being finalized, city leaders say acquiring the land is an important first step.
So I would say within the next couple of weeks, it'll officially be transferred over and become part of the city of Huntsville. And then the cemetery department, I'm sure, will be looking at landscaping and coming up with a master plan on incorporating that into the rest of the cemetery.
City officials say more details on the expansion timeline will be released in the months ahead. In Huntsville, Kim McCoy, Fox 54 News.
Yes, and city leaders say the expansion will help accommodate future needs while preserving the legacy of one of Huntsville's most historic sites.
What's in your water and what isn't? The question for Madison residents after the utility department announced it will no longer add fluoride to city water. The discussion follows a March proposal to the City Water and Wastewater Board. And it's getting some pushback. While some suggest the addition of fluoride has negative effects on our health, many dentists point to scientifically proven benefits for your teeth. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo takes us to see what's happening with your water.
A glass of water? You might want to know what's in it or what's being taken out of it. Madison Utilities proposed back in March to take fluoride out of the drinking water, and the Board for Water and Wastewater Management unanimously approved that motion on Friday. The change is set to take effect on June 16th, and local dentists tell me that change could have negative effects on children's dental health.
Other than asthma, tooth decay is one of the most common chronic childhood diseases that kids face. By kindergarten, over 50% of kids will have already had a cavity. So it's something that affects every socioeconomic status. It doesn't matter, where you live. Tooth decay is a rampant problem, and by taking the fluoride out, we're only going to be in more of an issue.
As a pediatric dentist, Dr. Grisham says without fluoride in the water, cavities in kids will only become more common. That means more chronic pain as more strain is placed on an already encumbered medical system.
Surgery centers, hospitals, and ways that we can anesthetize and offer safe ways to treat these cavities, it's going to put a huge public health strain on our ability to care for kids.
Limestone County treats its own water without fluoride and buys fluoridated water from Huntsville and Decatur, distributing it to parts of the county. CEO Daryl Williamson says it comes down to the costs associated with adding it to the water. Although it's cheap to buy, fluoride corrodes the treatment facility and can be harmful to the people mixing it.
It becomes more about an operational view of what you have to do at your water treatment facilities in order to inject fluoride, and the safety of your operators that are injecting that, and then your pumps and various things there. I think by and large all those decisions at the local level are made for operational concerns and not part of any agenda.
The man who made the proposal, Water Manager David Moore, sent us the following statement echoing similar sentiments. The decision was made in consideration of employee health and safety, structural degradation of treatment facilities, and the ongoing maintenance costs associated with the use of hydrofluorosilicic acid. He clarified, naturally occurring fluoride will stay in the water supply. They're only stopping the addition of extra fluoride. Athens, Decatur, and Huntsville all say they have no plans to remove fluoride from their water supplies at this time. In Madison, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
So how do you know if the water flowing to your tap is fluoridated? It's easy to find out. We've put a link in the story on our website, fox54.com. Just select your county, then the utility that supplies your water. The page will tell you if fluoride is added to the supply and in some cases, how much.
The conversation around a controversial Alabama House bill is growing, as some high school students would no longer be counted into the athletic classification process. House Bill 298 would force the Alabama High School Athletic Association to change its classification process, no longer including English language learners in the student population unless they play a sport. This change would take effect in the 2026-27 school year. Fox 54 spoke with the bill's sponsor to learn why he thinks this legislation is necessary for local schools.
It makes those school systems not competitive in these increased classification leagues. Kids get hurt. It's morale issue. Kids just quit playing sports. They start transferring. So hopefully with my bill, if we just only count those EL kids that do play, I think it will accurately reflect our athletic pool more.
Congressman Brock Colvin made it clear that he views this bill as a much-needed piece of legislation, even if the Alabama High School Athletic Association disagrees. In a statement released after the bill passed the House, AHSAA Executive Director Heath Harmon said, "I believe in the legislative process established by our member schools, allowing our schools to govern themselves. It's important to remember the Alabama High School Athletic Association is a private association governed by member schools and does not accept public funds in any capacity." But Congressman Colvin says the public resources used by the association should be taken into account.
They host events on taxpayer-funded public entities such as public high schools and football fields and baseball fields and softball fields. The High School Athletic Association director and employees opt into our RSA, so they get public school benefits while being a private entity, and they hire a lobbying firm to lobby the legislature on issues. So you tell me if they're public or private.
For 97.7 The Zone host Steve Moulton, a voice for local high school sports teams, he was shocked to see the bill go this far.
I did not know that this was as big of a deal as I guess it is, more than anything. That was my initial reaction, was I didn't realize how much. I originally read the story in February, but didn't think it had a whole lot of legs to stand on. But moving forward, I didn't realize it was as big of a galvanized issue.
For Moulton, he sees this bill as another instance of sports and politics getting closer and closer, setting a dangerous precedent.
When sports and politics merge, it's always a little hairier than we want it to be. But we're finding out that it's not just on the AHSAA level. I mean, we're seeing NIL trying to get introduced on a federal level.
HB 298 is now in the state Senate, where if approved, it could then head to Governor Ivey's desk for approval.
The Huntsville Planning Commission gave the green light for a big expansion to one of the city's museums on Tuesday. The U.S. Veterans Memorial Museum would be adding more than 27,000 square feet to showcase more of their equipment. Officials say visitors could see the new site open in spring of 2027. Our Gabe Glassman talked with the museum's director to find out how this will impact their mission.
When you step onto the floor of the U.S. Veterans Memorial Museum at John Hunt Park, you'll find tightly packed artifacts.
Everything is what we call axle to axle in here.
Museum Director Randy Withrow has been here since the start, seeing multiple changes throughout the years.
We incorporated this museum, believe it or not, in 1986, but we didn't have a facility until 2000. That's when we got the use of this building, which was originally the hangar when the airport was out here, but then it was last used as a jail. After 9/11, we decided we needed to jump on it, so we opened on Veterans Day 2001.
But this potential expansion, one of the biggest since Veterans Day 2001.
It's been a long time, either in concept or in this case in development, since 2001.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please say no. Motion carries.
A unanimous vote from the Huntsville Planning Commission approved the new 27,000 plus square foot facility.
We'll be able to spread things out, and we got some 12 things that are restored that we can't put in a museum. We physically don't have space for it.
J.M. Phillips Engineering adds the project will also include lighting, parking, and other outdoor features to showcase more equipment. Withrow says this addition provides a great opportunity toward the museum's mission.
Our mission is education, and it is to support the other veterans group and to participate in veterans activities. So this will give us a bigger facility and a bigger ability to do that. It'll be world class, and it'll be a tribute to our veterans and to our service members.
Construction on the new building could potentially start in fall 2025. In Huntsville, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
And Withrow says next steps for the expansion include putting it up for bid for contractors to take on the project.